4 Final Destination movies in a row.
That's a good thing to do. What are you talking about?
But
anxiety?
but unconsciously,
I guess
as a person with like an anxiety disorder.
I guess
it's
those are
treated.
very
It's
anxiety-inducing
treated.
movies.
It's treated, but you think it's treated, and you're like, well, I'm immune. That's what treatment means, right? No, actually, just the tension levels in those movies, even though they're not very scary, is sufficient that you like. Even if you're just looking at them while you're working or like listening to them, I rubbed my feet together as one of my soothing body movements is rubbing my feet together. I rubbed them together so much that I got a blister today. Did not know until after that I was like, yes, I see what I've done here. So I can recommend not doing that if you have both diagnosed OCD and an anxiety disorder, or undiagnosed, and then you won't get a blister from it. However, I can also recommend watching all the Final Destination movies because they're really fun.
They're really
very
good.
silly.
They're really
fun.
Very
silly.
Good in like
are like.
I like to watch them.
Really good.
Are they all?
The third one is close
parks?
to my heart because it was filmed in the PNE in Vancouver, where I spent many years. And not in the I didn't spend it in the theme park. I spent it in Vancouver. Sorry, right. I was very close to the theme park one. And it is the theme park one. And
Felix lives beneath the merry-go-round.
That's the one where they imply that they could have predicted 9/11 with photographs.
You can see via photograph, which is great. The lovely thing about the Final Destination movies is that they appropriately adopt the time frame in which they are filmed. And so like at first it's just like premonition and getting on a plane, and then eventually then there's cell phones involved and you can like talk to someone on a cell phone, and then there's like a digital camera involved, not a phone, not a smartphone because the smartphones run around, but a digital camera. And then and over time, and I think that's a really lovely I think it's a very sweet thing that they did. They didn't have to. They could have copped out and filmed and set them at any moment in time that was more convenient, but instead they like follow, the young generation. And who doesn't love a movie with high school students played by like 32-year-olds? Who doesn't love
Devon Sawa, baby.
Original Devon Sawa?
I know.
It's like post Casper. It has to be post Casper, right?
I think it's post Stan music video, but I can't remember. Maybe it's right before.
Post Casper, probably around the same time as Stan.
Yeah.
What else was he in that I was like,
I have no idea who this person is.
Yeah.
I was in Idle Hands.
Idle Hands. Thank you.
Yeah, he was. Yeah,
Casper, then Idle Hands, then this, and like we're like, delicious.
Final Destination 1 is a comfort movie, honestly. Yeah. It's also really weird when you watch that one and then you watch the other ones and you realize all the like lore they made up for the sequels.
Yes,
they did not do in the first one
at all. Entirely. Yeah, I really like it. Also, if you want to see like the bangs that like point up. That's some good shit. There's fucking early 2000s.
I wanted those bangs so badly. Like I wanted to be a skater boy, like an emo skater boy, so bad.
It was that in that first movie. Every character except her name's Clear Waters, by the way. Clear Waters. Everyone except her is wearing the biggest shirt known to man. It's like going down to their like knees.
Yes,
good.
It's awesome.
That's how I dressed.
I know, because it's like 1999 when they filmed that, 98. So it's so great.
Perfect. It's so good.
It's so good.
It's very powerful.
Big movie for me. Yeah.
All right, Elena.
I haven't gone.
Introduce yourself.
Everyone.
Yeah, that's
I'm Elena.
Final.
I do UX. My recommendations are watch the Batman.
Yeah.
I've been reading a lot of webtoons, so you should read Solo Leveling. I started buying the hard copies. I own all the ones that have come out. Solo Leveling's very good. You should read it.
Excellent.
Elena, I have a real question related to what you just said. How do you decide what to make room for in your camera shot on your shelf? Because I know that shelf is like not the only shelf in your room.
No, you can see
the one that we see in all meetings.
I decide I put the stuff I like the most up here, and this is my to read shelf.
Okay, so you
besides Solo Leveling, which I just put.
What are those giant novels in your to read shelf? Can I ask?
Well, these I bought these at a Half Price Books because I couldn't not.
Books. No,
they were like $2.
Okay. Yeah, I got you.
They're 2 supernatural
novels.
I could not buy them. They were so cheap.
Yeah.
it's a bunch of fantasy books. These are 2 Robin Hobb books.
I love Robert. That's why I asked, because I thought that was Ship of Magic.
Yeah, I have Ship of Magic and Fool's Assassin.
Yeah.
I bought just the first. These are also half-price books. I bought just the first of the. So you can see the half-price books thing over here. The first of the 2, and then these. I have the first one over here, but it's the Way of Kings trilogy series, and then at the bottom is the Mistborn books.
Cool.
And then this is Leviathan Wakes.
Now that I know you're reading Robin Hobb, I'm going to dive back into my reading of Robin Hobb, which I was redoing recently, but forgot to continue. You know, when you just get lost, you forget to. You move on to a different book and then you forget to continue the series.
Yeah. And then the last one is Velocity Weapon. I don't know. I bought it at half price books.
Yeah. Okay,
and I haven't read it. So I went to Texas like a while ago, and me and my friend went to every single half price books in every city that we were in. And just bought every book that we could find, and I shipped a whole box of them back because there's no half price books near me. Near me being like within like, I think the closest one is in like a different city.
Alana, can you do me a favor before we do questions?
Sure.
Someone in Skates asked this in chat. Can you open one of the Supernatural books to a random page and just like break us off like a paragraph?
I'll tell you that this one's called Carved in Flesh, and I think they tell you what season they take place in. This is season
Carved in
7.
Flesh has to be the season where Dean comes back and has the king symbol, right?
It's not. Actually, I don't know. I don't remember what season. No, this is season 7, so that's not that season.
Oh, no,
this is season 10. It's Cold Fire. Great.
Cold
you can also
Fire,
tell by the
cool.
headshots in the.
Yeah. That's like season like 7 or 8, Jared.
This is 10. It says season 10.
10. Okay.
And this is season 7 with these headshots. Look at that.
Yeah. No, can you just open one of those and give me like a paragraph from a random page?
Oh, that's not going to be very helpful. I have no idea.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Oh God, I don't even want to read this out loud.
Come on.
Okay. Oh Jesus.
Do it for the people. Do it for the loving Blaseball audience.
Well, he does have the Mark of Cain in this book.
Oh my god.
See, I knew it.
I haven't read these, so I don't know.
Don't read ahead. Just start reading.
I'll just read one.
Just let your heart pick something.
I'll read one sentence.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's the first sentence I read. It's Agent Banks in Rutherford, FBI, Dean said, with the aplomb of a seasoned con man, flashing the fake FBI laminate and exchanging a quick handshake.
Oh,
great.
All right.
Great.
Okay.
On that note,
that's John Passarella for you guys.
Thank you.
I couldn't help buying these. I laughed out loud when I saw them, and I agonized over whether I should buy them or not. And then I Googled how many books there were, and there's way more than you think there are.
I wish that they'd written them from like as if Chuck had been writing them. And
I don't wish that.
I don't wish that. Chuck sucks.
He's
all right,
the worst
moving
character.
on.
Okay.
Not supernatural talk because the 3 of us will accidentally take it.
Yeah, tune in for Inside of Blaseball After Dark, where everybody that's seen Supernatural gets locked in a room and just has to share opinions until one of us gets so upset that we leave.
I can't even tell. I still don't know if you like this show. Or...
No.
Okay.
It's a Stockholm Syndrome situation.
I like Supernatural the way that I like Twilight, and that like it sucks shit, but it was very formative at like a young point in my life, and I look at it.
I don't even
it
have that
good.
fucking excuse. I do not have that excuse. I legitimately just needed to marathon something, and I saw that it had 10 fucking seasons, and I was like, at the time, it had 10 seasons. No, I made it to season 10 and then I had to stop because it was so bad.
You stopped at season 10? That's even crazier.
You made it through season 6 and you kept going.
I know. Season 6 is the...
I don't know what to tell you. I was in a bad place. Let's just say there was like an online harassment campaign that was ongoing at the time, and I needed something to just like focus in on that had no stakes and no importance.
Yeah.
And I now officially have Stockholm Syndrome.
Great.
I mean, I didn't continue. I haven't been able to watch
it. And then went, that's enough.
Yeah.
One more.
That's it. I can't do it.
No,
Steven, it got so bad that I think what happened was the said campaign ended and my life changed a little bit, and I sort of woke up. I came out of a fugue state of Supernatural after about 6 months.
Sure.
And realized that I had marathoned all of Stargate 1 and all of Supernatural, and I needed to make some life changes. This is what happened.
Great.
It's just
I wish
it's a CW show, so that should tell you everything you need.
Yeah, come on.
That's
I wish that April Fool's Day was not so soon and that I wasn't sick, because I would love to host an Inside of Blaseball where we just talk about Supernatural as like an April Fool's Day thing. But
that is a good bit.
Thank you. We'll just do it randomly sometime.
Sure.
Yeah, if we hit like a certain number on launch, the reward will be listening to us. My favorite.
Won't even announce it. We'll just go live.
Yeah. My favorite.
It's called Inside of Super Hell.
Yeah,
that's all.
First of all,
we got such a super hell. It's real gay.
I know.
So this is Inside of Blaseball, where we answer all of your Blaseball related questions.
I know.
By the community.
All right.
It's tangentially related because
we hard transition.
It's tangentially related because we unfroze the server early that one night when Destiel became canon, and we were so feral that we needed to talk about it with people. We're like, Destiel's real. Everybody wake up. Anyway, our first question randomly appeared in my document of questions, and I don't know who asked it, so I'm just gonna say it. How did you determine which player attributes are boosted by the various item prefixes?
There's two approaches. One is we look at a series of attributes that we want to boost together, and we say, thematically, what is this saying to us? What's this evoking? And like, it might be like blood or slime or something like that. I don't know if that's a prefix, but anyways. And then the other way is we say something that is evocative, and then we work backwards and figure out which attributes thematically tie to that. And that's it. It's not super interesting.
It's all vibes.
It's vibes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gut check only.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Sometimes it just makes sense too.
Yeah.
Right. Sometimes you're like, well, this clearly makes sense.
Yeah.
You feel it in here.
Yeah.
All right. Great. This next one comes to us from Crab. Thank you, Crab. Have there been any moments when somebody in another department within the game band came up with something and it just blew your mind?
All the time.
All the time.
Yeah, it's hard to even say like another department. Like there are different departments, but there's so much just collaboration, and people are encouraged to just like throw ideas out and run with stuff that it happens all the time. The first thing that I thought of was during the first siesta, just talking about maybe what we could do. And Elena said the coffee cup, and because we were just talking about ways to group players together. And then we were like, oh, well, now we have to have a tournament. And then that's the whole reason that we did it. It was just because it was like, oh yeah, that's obvious. So,
it was like 5 minutes in a meeting.
Yeah.
We came up with the entire idea.
Yeah. I think you also said foghorn sound.
I did say foghorn sound because we couldn't come up with a slogan for the team. I was just like, what if we just do foghorns?
Yeah.
To this day, probably my favorite slogan.
It was a placeholder, and then we just left it.
It's always the placeholders that get you.
Always goes.
Mine is also, I mean, it like Steven said, it happens all the time. Anytime I'm in a writer's meeting and I'm just like hanging out, like, how would this impact the community? And like Gabe or Joel or Steven will say something absolutely divorced from reality, but that somehow ties everything together in like a perfect, succinct little pun. And I just like get so angry. I just start laughing. But the day that Elena was like, hey everyone, I decided to make it so that you could pet the dogs. So now there's this little feature and you can just click this button and pet the dogs.
I don't know why I didn't think of that.
And it was like perfectly timed with an election that a bunch of people in the Discord were nervous about. And I was like, this goes live right before the election results. So all people are talking about is petting dogs.
Yeah.
And it was beautiful. It was perfect.
Elena is MVP. Like, that was has been for multiple eras.
That was the day that everything was unlocked in the library. Like 6,000 things were unlocked in the library. And it was like the longest day in a very long time. And somebody, I don't even know if I don't remember where the idea came from specifically, but at some point it was like 10 p.m. and I just wrote the code for that. And I was like, let's push this tomorrow. Like,
it was perfect. It was
like,
perfect.
you know, it'd be really funny. And then we could get on the you can pet the dog Twitter. And that's all I really wanted.
And we
You
did
know?
it.
I'm
And we
the
did.
most blown away by since I went full time is the reworked election system. Just like thinking about the complexity of building a much more dynamic election system that just like works better in every way is amazing. Like knowing a bit about how Blaseball works and then thinking about how you would apply like cool big dynamic elections to that in a way that's like user friendly for the people designing each election, absolutely incredible. So much work, I'm sure.
There will also
Yeah,
oh, Felix, go ahead.
I have a tough time coming up with a single. I mean, all the ones we've mentioned right now, and I think there's been some like behind the scenes stuff that also I was blown away by, but I'm blown by the team on a regular basis. I was during discipline before anytime before expansion, basically, I was a lot more like present in the writers' rooms and stuff. We ended up being, you know, and I've got different responsibilities now, but I still to this day get to hear when the writer's room or the design room comes up with an idea, and I kind of have the luxury of listening in on all the design meetings as like a bit of a podcast because my partner and I both work on Blaseball, so they're all the way in the other room, but it is very close and I have to hear it. And there are, I mean, I don't know how many, I can count how many meetings this hasn't happened. I cannot count how many meetings it has happened because most of the time I need to like barge into the room to
call them criminals.
Protest. Yes, to rein in some criminals. But they proved to me the thing that's mind blowing is that every single time I think I need to like barge into the room to yell no, which became a little bit of an ongoing joke when you knew you hit on something like real good when I in the background somewhere else in the house.
When there's like a mournful
room away, you
wail.
should no.
Yeah. If you can hear it on the call and I've yelled no, then you've hit on something good. The truth is that's true. Like the beautiful thing that blows me away every single time is that I've worked on a lot of video games now, and I will hear something that to me sets off all of my like warning signs of being out of scope, unrealistic, totally through the roof in terms of like ability to execute on. And then as soon as they pitch it to me, I'm so on board. And maybe this is also a little bit Stockholm syndrome, but I am so on board.
Blaseball's like
after I've been pitched on it that I've never found a team that has like turned me in the direction of the absurd more than this team. And to me, that's like super, because my entire job is to keep grounding us. And I can't because it's all so good. It's all so good. Well, there were a couple things that weren't very good, and like I still don't. Yeah, I still think that. What was the election where we almost introduced like getting multiple wins for a win?
Oh
yeah, wins for win. Oh man, it was gonna get so much
darkest
it was gonna get real
all
bad.
the elections with the Suns.
They pulled me back. They vetoed.
Because I remember being like, we cannot do this in the
Steven's a
background.
loose cannon.
And then it still went up on the website, right? And then it didn't get voted in.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean double?
That
jumps.
was double jump.
Double jump. It was double jump.
Double jumps rules.
Oh,
the
double
zipper
jump
paper
was like,
on the potential effects of double jumps is also fantastic reading.
yes, and now that there's a paper written on it, I feel so much better. Anyway.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think you were talking about that. I thought you were talking about end of expansion.
No, end of expansion was also, but end of expansion,
there were more suns, and
we were all too deep.
We were so deep in the paint.
Yeah.
There was no way to know what decision was good or bad at the end of expansion. So
yeah. It is.
Yeah, double jump was scary.
It is so like I'm like sitting here listening to other people talk and thinking about how I could like talk about a moment where I've been awestruck by my coworkers because of their various skills and talents and personalities. I do want to shout out the keepers as well, who are just as much sort of a part of making Blaseball what it is. And every day we are locked in a cage together, all of us, just shit posting relentlessly. And I am always so delighted and so horrified at how we all share a single brain cell, and that brain cell is somehow both extremely funny and also like extremely empathetic and thoughtful about how to structure a community. Everybody's so great. I love everybody so much.
It's such a good team.
Oh, yeah. The amount of times that the keepers have blown my mind. By the way, not just like keepers in terms of like moderation stuff, but like keepers in terms of design stuff too. Like stuff that the keepers have said have very much so influenced the way that we decide things, right? Like, and genius every time. So very happy to have it.
We love to see it. We love to see it. Mel, did you want to shout anything out before I move on to the next question? Or have we covered it?
No, we're good.
We're good.
I don't have. I've been here like 3 months. No.
Oh no, you're great though. The worst. By the way,
all of the funny shit posts Mel, Emily, and I do together, we can't talk about.
Yes. First of all, total
the dark lore.
Mel, what you were doing before Blaseball blew my mind in a way that was like overwhelming.
Mel's very cool, everyone.
So if you ever want to promote that, I will leave it in your court because it is like still the most overwhelmingly cool thing.
I was thinking about bringing it up during the recommendation part, but I thought it would be in poor taste.
No, it's super cool.
My own project. So basically before and still, like, I spent all weekend working on this, but I have this website called Easel.live, and I can post a link in chat because my links won't be removed because I have moderator status, but it is a collaborative drawing site. So you go on and you can draw with people live. It's in an open beta, so you can go in right now and sign up. So if you want to draw with people, you can go do that.
There's some 18 plus content on some of the other visible artboards, right?
There is, if there is 18 plus stuff, usually I hide them, but yeah, I would say PG-13, generally speaking. So I can delete the link if you want.
No, it's totally fine. I just want folks to go in knowing, if you are under 18,
over 18, there is a way to make a room private so it doesn't show up on the front page, and I would super appreciate it if you did that.
Yeah.
I built that with a friend of mine, and sometimes I stream development of it on my Twitch channel, which is the one that posted the link. So if you're interested in those things, check it out, and I appreciate everyone. But it has the project has the same exact stack as Blaseball, so it was a really easy transition.
Excellent. All right. Next question comes. I don't know why I yelled that. I'm already getting weird. Sorry, y'all. This one comes to us from Swirl. How are teams sorted into divisions? Is it random as part of the simulation, or is it something that the devs decide on?
It's random.
It's random.
End of question.
End of question. Great work. This question.
Simulation is a literal term. It's just a literal term. It's just
true.
It's just gone.
I make all the choices myself with a magic 8 ball.
Unless there's some other, because I think there was a time when at the end of expansion when you moved around. Other than that, it's random.
Yeah.
Because that would change what division you were in.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. And I'm just thinking about whether there was any other time, and I don't think there was.
I don't remember. I don't think so.
I think if a joke was funny enough, we might do something, but otherwise.
The different realities would have decided on, would have sorted different divisions.
Right.
But otherwise, yeah.
Oh, yeah. There was the election one. That one wasn't random. But, all the short circuit ones were random and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. I'm not going to yell next question this time. How long?
Do you want me to do it?
Yeah. Quinn, take it away.
Next question.
Thank you. How long have you all been sitting on the hotel motel holiday innings joke?
Can I take it as a person who was not here when that was made? Can I guess? Can I guess first? I think it was proposed less than a calendar week before it was implemented. That's just okay.
Nope.
Wow. That would have been my guess too.
It was a day in January of last year. Gabe, Joel, and I were in a writer's room, and we were just coming up with ballpark renovations, and the process was either like, again, like a rule that we wanted to, you know, maybe implement that wasn't a decree, but that we wanted to give you, you know, some sort of customability with, or customization with, and then finding like a name for it, or us just shit posting and just saying puns or whatever dumb thing came into our heads. And one of us said hotel, motel, holiday inning, and then we spent an hour and a half figuring out how that works.
First of all, I think you're underestimating how long you spent figuring out how it works.
Yeah.
I would just like to say out loud that as the person that has to like it, when I say I listen to it as a I have the luxury of listening to it as a podcast. That works kind of both ways. I also have the curse of having to listen to it as a mandatory podcast in my home. And so I'm much more sensitive to the amount of time that it takes. I think an hour and a half is like an underestimation.
Yeah, probably. Like there was a big, like there were a bunch of renos that I think we've mentioned some of them before that like didn't come in during the expansion era.
Yeah.
Some of them that are just as stupid as that. But that was when we knew we were going to bring it eventually.
I just love how much is one of the most beautiful things about the Blaseball like design and writing process is how one person can say an excellent pun slash like just throw something out there that feels really good. And if you and you will all spend one meeting, and one meeting is a very variable time measurement now, so now a little less than before. It used to be like up to 5 hours, and now it's much more like we're very good about cutting a thing off. But even if we
the calendar
in that meeting, even if we don't get into the meeting, it's held in our back pocket. There's like there's an unspoken rule that like anytime something felt really good to a lot of people in the room, we put it in our back pocket and it will come out later. Like Stephen will say like, oh, this is a perfect moment for X, right? And so I think that's what makes it so flexible and collaborative in a lot of ways, right? You were able to hold things in your back pocket when they sounded like very clever. And by clever, I mean sometimes incredibly dumb.
Yeah, there are renos in that list that are just a funny name or kind of a concept that if you click in to see like what the mechanical description is, it just says like question marks or like, I don't know, like something. And yeah, we would spend an inordinate amount of time, like once we really latched onto a stupid pun or something like that, trying to reverse engineer that and
trying to make it work.
Yeah.
I remember the meeting where y'all were figuring out the mechanic for stables and how that would like interact. And then we only got to see it fire once, but it was so worth it.
I know.
Yeah. Next time.
Next question.
Next question.
Time we're killing every team. Yeah.
Ooh. Final destination for Blaseball.
Yes.
This one comes to us from Max. In your experience, which self-contained season has required the most effort to execute?
Probably the end of expansion.
Yeah. Or
because we pivoted, and that was on once again the MVP to pull it all together.
That or when we got the expansion teams. Because that was the expansion teams and stadiums and something else.
That was a lot. That was a lot.
That was
all
a lot
once.
also.
That was a lot. There were a few weeks during the Chorby days on the community team that I think may have taken the most effort on our end to get through emotionally. Execute wise, though, I feel like the end of expansion was so much.
I guess like the end of discipline too, like the boss fight stuff was like a whole thing.
God, the boss fight was so cool.
So yeah, it's funny how like the sometimes the things that had such intense payoff that I wish I could say took a lot of planning and a lot of like attention actually didn't at all, but caused us all to go like, oh no, the most interesting thing happened, and we all had to like get together anyway and figure it out. I agree. The end of expansion is no question the most intensive. Yeah,
it was just like every day.
Yeah. And like so many hours.
Yeah.
We had to like monitor it constantly.
Mm-hmm. Like if we weren't during a normal like 9 to 5 work day, then it was watching and seeing what team was going to be incinerated, or if Black Hole was going to swallow somebody, or any other like, of the various things happening.
Like I you know, I just was working every day. Like
I do remember specifically, Elena, you were so good at anytime we asked you something probably ridiculous, like, hey, so can this image just like rotate slowly, or like can you just like make this thing happen? You would rightfully be like, no, and then you would just make it happen magically.
I would usually say, I can try, but we'll see.
Right. And I think as a person who
I'm not gonna promise anything,
was sensitive to that, I always assumed it was a no, and then you would just magically make it happen. And I am so sorry for that, but also so thankful.
It worked out. Usually it was a tentative no, because I didn't want people to be disappointed when it didn't work out. Because it was gonna be a hard no if I couldn't do it in a reasonable amount of time every time. But if it was not I didn't want to do a hard no, because I was like, I know it's possible. It's just a pain.
Yeah.
There was one, I don't remember what it was. There was one thing that was like a huge pain that I was like, it was adding the stupid squiggly line. The squiggly line was a huge pain. It took forever.
In the leaderboard?
In the leaderboard. Because it's like not that easy to make a noodle.
The noodle.
Without unless you wanted it just to be a PNG, and
that's not good. And we were also at the time, we were still had a site that crashed with bandwidth issues. Like it was still a major issue.
We had to make it like move where it's supposed to go and stuff too. Like it was the noodle took. I was like, I don't know if I can do this noodle, guys. It's gonna be such a huge pain. But then I got it to work because I wrote that SVG myself, so that's why it looks like if you read the code, it looks ridiculous. I wrote that by hand.
I also, okay, so first of all, that's incredible. Secondly, I love that once you had, I noticed with you, there's like this incredible threshold that if you meet it, you tell us all to say like, you say to us like, stop worrying about that thing. I'm going to do it. Move on to the next thing. Because you've got it like banked as like a thing you know and are confident that you can do now. You're like, it's not working right now, but don't worry, I already solved it.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Just stop asking me about it. Just stop asking. And that's like, I just have so much respect for that moment in programming, coming from a programming background myself, where it's just like, this is now solved by my like, I solved it in my sleep. It is my unconscious brain that has solved it.
I can do that in 2 minutes. To explain don't worry about it.
I cannot explain it. It is a magical thing that has happened in my brain. So you make me miss programming, which is great. It's a good thing. Yeah.
I'm glad, because I don't sometimes.
Yeah, well, I'm sure. Now, of course, nobody misses it when it's their job.
Yeah.
But my condolences to both you and Mel.
I do it I work, and then I go home. I go from my work
and then you do it again,
and then I keep going.
I close the work tab and I open the
fun tab.
No, but that's just what I mean. Is that I love that second phase. Yeah, I love that. But when it's being asked of you, it's a totally different thing. So I just deeply respect that. Anyway,
close the work screen, open the fun screen. While you were talking about programming, Steven was in chat asking to be modded.
But what about me?
You have been modded.
You've got the sword.
Needy.
You are a sword haver now.
What do you want? 2 swords.
And Max, one of the mods, was like, "Oh, I'm not sure if this is the real like Sunman because I've seen it." And
1 second ago.
And Steven's like, "I'm typing right now," and it reminded me of a day. Steven, I'm gonna put you on blast for a second. I'm so sorry. On the Discord where Steven wanted to join a side server. I don't remember what it was, just to see what was going on.
Oh, yeah.
And I went to join it, and just accidentally made an entirely new account without realizing that that's what he'd done and couldn't figure out what was going on and was like, guys, wait. Guys, wait, I don't understand.
It's not intuitive. It's not intuitive. I also like
your credit. It's not intuitive.
It's not intuitive. It's not your fault.
Firefighter.
So okay.
Yeah. No, you made everyone a.
Did I make everybody? Oh,
it wasn't a firefighter.
It was the garage.
The garage.
So we call it opening the garage.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. First of all, that's what we call it, opening the garage. And it happened more than once, so don't worry.
Yeah.
For some reason, it happened more than once to the garages, which I do not understand. But you're doing great, and that's
you're doing so great. It was just very funny that like an ump on the server who has mod powers had an alt on the Blaseball disc.
I do have an answer for the question though.
I forgot what the question was. Go ahead.
It's okay because Possum writes them in the Discord, so we have
shout
reference.
out to Possum.
But the most effort, the season that had required the most effort for me to execute was the last Short Circuit because it's the only one I worked on. So it was both the least effort and the most effort for me.
That makes sense. The last Short Circuit was rowdy too, so
yeah.
I literally have zero memories.
It's like a valid answer.
I couldn't tell you a single thing that happened in that Short Circuit.
Yeah.
I don't even know what the new thing was. I have no idea.
It was the mid-season fiesta where the teams started trying to play themselves, and we had to shut it down, or it was all going to break.
I forgot we even did that. I'll be honest.
That was some real wild stuff.
Right.
Black it out.
I've been working on a bunch
gone.
of other very unrelated things.
Wipe it from the mind. Next question. With the success of Blaseball, the MLB, this is a situational question. The MLB comes to you for help maintaining its status as a cultural event. What one thing? This happened. Yeah, no, this is real. What one thing do you bring over from Blaseball to baseball? It could be a game mechanic. It could be something like wet pretzels. It could be the commissioner tweeting like Parker or a character.
Incinerations.
This one comes to us from Subtraction Soup. Elena, what was your answer?
Incinerations. I think should have a gun.
It's pretty good.
No, I don't condone this.
No, I don't actually think that.
I think. Oh, go ahead.
I think there should be more cat boys in baseball.
Yeah, there should be a lot more cat boys in
there's
baseball.
not enough cat boys in baseball.
There should also be real physical deities that you can blaspheme in baseball.
I feel like I feel like there are, but also it's a little different. This lockout, this last strike showed me that it feels the same, quite the same.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying there aren't any villains in baseball. There are certainly villains in baseball, but
you should be able to blaspheme them. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. They should hover ominously above the baseball diamonds.
And
that should be the requirement.
And you could like bully them and shove them in a locker. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. If you beat them in a baseball game, they die.
Yeah. No. That I'm okay with. I think there should be fractional runs in baseball.
Yeah,
I've talked about this a lot. It comes from the same. Steven shook your head. No, here's my problem. So I'm a huge baseball fan, and I'm also now recently. I am blurring. Don't ask me why I'm blurry. I just am.
The baseball's censoring you. The MLB's censoring you.
Yeah, they heard you. They said you have to stop.
Listen, I've always wanted a three-team football, American football. I think fractional baseball is good.
We should do. I don't want to say this. Never mind. I can't say this because I don't know if this is a thing that we pitched or
send
we're
it
allowed to talk about. Never mind.
Yeah, I know what you're gonna say. Don't
talk about it.
I hear you on fractional runs. It just gets weird quickly.
It would revive the baseball scoregami.
Yeah, I would. Weird like random events that teams just have to cope with. I think is like what makes baseball special in a lot of ways. Relegation, which didn't get passed, but that would be fun.
I know which one I actually.
Yeah, I was gonna say. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, double jumps. You should do double jumps in baseball.
I want
I think
consumers.
every competitive sport should do double jumps.
Yeah.
I want consumers in baseball.
Consumers.
I want sharks.
I mean, not sharks.
Yeah.
Not sharks.
Legally
No
distinct sharks.
Legally
No sharks.
distinct. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like the title belt.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
The gun blade.
Wait. A thing that's already in baseball that we don't recognize that is in baseball, but the fact that every effing fucking park is different in terms of a home run makes me an actual like I get furious when I think about like the Boston whatever. It's fine. The point is that in Blaseball, a thing we have is that the parks are different, and in real life, believe it or not, they are so different that like some teams have no chance of hitting a home run depending on where they are, and that makes me furious. Look, I'm back in focus.
And that's how Sue sees it. That was a reference.
Also, the actual answer is grind rails. That's
grind rails
Also
is
grind rails.
extremely good.
Yeah.
I would
Yeah, well,
really.
no one said grind rails because it's the cop out answer.
Yeah,
it
it's
is.
the one
It
we
is.
all
I
want.
know.
I would love a like overarching narrative of players mysteriously disappearing while two detectives randomly appear and disappear in the park trying to find clues. Like it's a murder mystery dinner that you show up, but they're also playing baseball at the same time.
That just
Everybody
sounds
has
like
a character and a costume.
It just sounds like a Criminal Minds episode.
Yeah, it's a Scooby-Doo episode.
More sports,
but in
should
real
have
life.
Yeah, it's a
emergent
Scooby-Doo
narrative.
episode,
Yeah.
and they follow the team around on away games.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
in their
yeah.
van.
I
So
think
it's the Scooby-Doo spin-off movie.
yeah.
One of the movies.
Scooby-Doo and the dugout
Ghost.
ghost.
It's always a ghost.
It's not always a ghost. There are lots of different scares.
Mostly
and
it's a
haunts
ghost.
that
Name
they-
one that's not a ghost that's not also a real thing. Like the chupacabras don't count because they're real. They actually exist in the movie.
There's
the zombies
the-
don't count because they're actually
Wait,
zombies.
what are we talking about?
We're talking about Scooby-Doo now. What was the
okay.
Scooby-Doo corner?
I thought we went back to Supernatural for a second. I
No.
checked chat and I was like, oh no, here we
No,
go.
I'm gonna let notes down because I know a lot about Scooby-Doo, but my head is really empty because I am sick. So I'm just gonna. I used to know the names of these things, but I can't remember them. So there's the funny scarecrow guy in the Johnny Bravo Scooby-Doo crossover. He's not a ghost.
I don't.
There's the space alien that.
There is the alien and there's the mermaids, right?
Yeah, there's the
whatever.
guy whose footprints glow from the kelp.
He's a ghost.
He's not a ghost.
I know he's not really a ghost. They call him a ghost. I know that one's a ghost.
Welcome to the Scooby-Doo corner, everybody. Dracula is a villain.
Right,
in
Dracula's a
multiple
Inside a
ones.
Scooby
actual
snack.
vampire. Canonically,
He's not a ghost. You didn't say undead. You said ghost.
I know. I'm saying all the fake ones are ghosts.
Hey, what happens
No,
if I
don't
click
bring up
emotes only in
Scooby-Natural in
chat?
this conversation.
Steven.
Doesn't count.
All right, we can ask the next question. This one comes to us from Dollar. If you could go back and have Blaseball launch with a specific feature or mechanic from later in the game's lifespan, what would it be? My answer is cheering.
Oh yeah, we did do
Cheering's
that.
a really
I forgot
good
that
one.
it existed, and I did that. I was the one who worked on that.
What was the question?
If you could go back to launch and include a like feature or a mechanic that we've since introduced, what would you introduce from the beginning?
To like launch to season the return.
Let's say like early discipline because launch was like
Just
playing baseball. Yeah.
Well, but I guess I have an answer for that too. Is like, yeah, cheering is good, but anything that even like the feed in its previous version, it like anything that could allow people to come back and have a sense of what happened, be able to catch up, stuff like that. Cheering is good. Yeah, I don't know. The title belt. I love the title.
Yeah, title belt. I mean, you're just gonna keep coming back to it because it's valid. Yeah. No,
The mid-season fiesta, which
The mid-season fiesta.
I wish it worked. Yeah.
The new election system.
Yeah, the new election system is probably the real
Yeah.
answer.
Oh, for sure.
Beings, I think,
Basically
probably.
anything that isn't purely a narrative beat mechanic, probably any of those. They're all good.
Anything that makes our lives easier.
The Blaseball roundup.
Yeah, definitely the new election system is probably the answer.
All right, this one is related, so I paired them together. This one comes to us from Keeper Skates. What's up, Keeper Skates? Birthday coming up. Happy early birthday. If you could go back in time to day one of Blaseball development, or to your first day on Blaseball, what is something that you would have done differently, knowing what you know now? I can start. My answer is very easy. I would set better boundaries about how much time I spent on the Discord. I would hit the end of my workday and I would mute the Discord until the next day and not continuously anxiously check it to make sure nothing has burned down. Because that is, friends, public service announcement, not good for your brain. Don't do that. Boundaries are important. Logging off is good. Stay hydrated.
I would know ahead of time that I should just self-host any bot that we want to use for server infrastructure, rather than finding a solution that looks like it might work, using that for 3 months, realizing it doesn't work in some important ways, putting a lot of work into transferring it over to another bot that's better, and then that one has problems, and then eventually being like, you know what, let's just actually do it ourselves in a way that works for us and will always work for us. So going through that process, from the end of that process would have been really nice.
Yeah.
I just you don't want to hear my answer. It's so boring. You know, I would
Mine
just
was
rewrite
setting
all that.
boundaries.
Yeah, but yours is like makes if you don't know what I'm talking
Yours
about.
is
It makes no sense
inspirational,
what I'm saying.
Bria.
Yeah,
what
yours
is
is
it?
like
It's
applicable
advice
to all
everyone
people.
should take. Yeah.
Mine
No,
is I
what
would
is
have
it?
rewritten all the CSS to be more, so I don't have to
That's
rewrite
great.
it again now.
That's great. That's good.
That's a good answer.
I should have done that so long ago, but it's there's a whole bunch of stuff.
I'm avoiding answering this question by leaving the room. BRB.
Oh, okay.
All right.
I can answer the question. In the meantime, I would have started standing at my desk earlier, because I started standing at my desk and I get like a really great view out my window, and I get to like stand, which makes me feel more awake. It's been just good for me. I only just started doing that.
I think I would. I mean, there's a bunch of things, like going back to making it, like trying to make it more accessible from the jump, so that people could catch up, or be able to really figure things out on their own. Like, I think it's really important that the community would have to come together and talk about it and share info with one another, but giving more tools to facilitate that, to be able to study stats, things like that, get a sense of what was coming up, so it wasn't chaining you to the game so much. That's definitely a thing. Then there's a bunch of other stuff that like I can't say because we might be doing.
I want to go back to the last question really quick, because I just remembered something. If I had, there's a feature that I wish that we had done from the beginning, and it was making the team, your favorite team, on the header bar on the not tweet. It would take you to the team, because that sent you to tweet your favorite team for like most of Discipline Era.
Yeah.
I think all of Discipline Era, maybe most of it, and it drove me insane. And I wish we hadn't. I wish we hadn't done that. It was it was a good idea, but then it just drove me insane every time I pressed it. It didn't do what I wanted it to do, because I would forget. But you can still tweet about it. You can still tweet about.
You can still tweet about Blaseball. You could tweet about Blaseball right now.
There's a different button. It's on your favorite team's page now. Yeah, the feature's not gone. It's just in a different spot now. Don't worry, guys.
Quinn,
But,
Quinn, you're
I don't
muted.
miss it.
Yeah, if you try to tweet about Blaseball right now, I will stop you.
Quinn comes through
You
the
can't.
screen of
You're
your
not allowed.
computer.
Yeah, no tweeting about Blaseball.
Logs you out of Twitter. Speaking of Quinn, you and I have a question. Normally it's just me talking about community, but now it's both of us. Don't fuck up.
I will. It'll be fine.
Excellent. This one comes to us from Tenor the Leaf Cutter. Question for the community management side. Do you see your job more as looking after the communities just on Discord or the wider internet? What's your general approach and ideology on this? Do you want to start?
That's a really good question.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have thoughts on this, and the Blaseball Discord is such a specific, it's such a specific vibe, the community, and it's an interesting line to walk in making sure that like the Discord is a safe area for people to be in, but not made safe to the point that it's kind of impenetrable. Because we have a lot of tools that we use to enforce safety, and those are easy things like, don't be transphobic or whatever. Like that stuff is super simple, but it gets more complicated when it comes to like off topic. Like it's a really big server. Inevitably, some off topic is going to happen in general, especially a lot more so on Siesta. And those are the situations in which we do have to take into account like the larger motions of the internet within our community, because the parts that are about Blaseball are pretty easy to moderate, pretty easy to handle. Like we understand Blaseball, but like sometimes something will show up in the Discord and we're like, one person on the keeper team might have the cultural context for this one.
Like, that's a deep meme from a 4chan space that I spent time on once when I was 13 and remember.
Yeah. So like on the whole, I think we treat the Discord as like a very unique space that we treat differently than a lot of other places in the internet are treated. But it's unavoidable that it's going to be some of both.
Yeah, I think
that's my answer.
Yeah, I agree. I think what's something that we're talking about a lot these days as we think about the like future of Blaseball and intentionally shaping the community is, I feel like in every online space that has caretakers of like any capacity, not just a Discord or like a subreddit or a message board, there is a tug of war between the amount of control that you can have over a space and the like mental health and well-being of the people that caretake the space. And so the more control you try to have over like a huge thing, the more energy over time and the more taxing I think it is to maintain a certain level of control and maintenance and expectations and guidelines. And so, in the past, the way that we've approached the Discord from the community side has been to look at it as the like one-stop shop expectation setting. Like, this is the space where you go to experience Blaseball, and that's how it's functioned for a very long time. And I think as we start to do that long term and experience what that level of control over a space is like, I don't know if long term like that, I think we're going to have to get a little loosey-goosey with the way that we approach that relationship, because I think like side servers and additional spaces on the internet where people talk about Blaseball the way that they want to is like great and like good. And not everybody has to engage the way that the like large portion of the community on the Blaseball Discord does. And I think historically there's been sort of an approach that like the way that we do it in the Discord is the way that everybody has to do it. And if you don't do it, you're like morally wrong for trying to participate in Blaseball XYZ way. And I think looking to the future, I think that's just not sustainable for anybody to set one guideline as much as we could put like signposts for how to experience or like participate in the community that we control, and then outside of our doors go with God. The keepers We talk to side server mods pretty regularly. Like, folks come to us for advice really often, and we have some really valuable conversations about how to approach complicated topics or like really the darker sides of the internet that I really value having those conversations with other members to see how they approach that stuff and to see what questions they have based on how like we would address them. But yeah, I think long term there's a level of us needing to be more flexible and thinking about ways that we can sort of, like the waves, come and go and exist sort of in concert with the way that the broader community exists. That was very long-winded, but I love to talk about this stuff.
We could go on for like a long time. So
yeah, we won't take up
off
more of anybody else's time. I can move on to the next question.
How is it already past our hour?
I know. We talk so much.
We started kind of late, and we did talk about Supernatural.
We talked about Supernatural for a while. That one's on me.
8 more minutes. Yeah.
We got it. No, we got mostly. Let's see. There is one more serious question, and then the rest are goofy. So
okay.
It's easy breezy beautiful from here. This one comes to us from RC Orchid. What are your goals going into the next era, whether they be design, community, etc.? Obviously with what we can talk about, we'll keep it vague.
Who wants to go?
I just talked a little bit about community, so I'll be brief. I think our goals are finding ways to open the Blaseball community up to more approaches, more experiences, and really like make Blaseball a thing that can be approachable for a lot of folks and bring folks in and get them hooked, but have a bunch of those different experiences that people can latch onto as opposed to just the like one core experience. I think that's probably a goal that a lot of us share in our different sort of zones, but I think moderating an online space with so many people that are so active, sustainable is a big goal. And I think making the community at large approachable and to feel comfortable in their conversations with both the development team and with the game as it launches and grows are big goals of mine.
And we spend so much time talking about our community goals and like specifically the two of us talking about goals for like the broader future of the community that I don't have a different answer to this question. That's just
the brain cell is shared.
Yeah. That accessibility, like I keep coming back to, so everything Bria and Quinn said. Also, the expansion era, we still treated very much like a big beta. And it was really about like, there were themes that we were interested in exploring. It was also really about like kind of fulfilling the promise of Blaseball from Discipline, which was that like we would add, a simple system or feature every week, and it would just kind of continue to grow. And it was really, expansion was really pushing it to the limit and seeing, when it would like collapse under its own weight, right? When we come back, it's going to be a different kind of Blaseball, I think I can say. It's where, we're really interested in like taking the lessons that we've learned and trying to find a not only more accessible, but kind of more refined version of it that also is simultaneously just as insane and keeps that chaotic energy. I think we have some ideas for it. I think we're gonna kind of we're just bringing a whole new dimension to the game.
You're saying that Blaseball's going 3D?
I didn't say that.
Smell-o-vision for Blaseball.
There we go.
Yeah.
All right. Anna, Mel, Felix, anything to add, or should I move on to the goof questions?
I want to emphasize accessibility. Love that so much.
Yeah, accessibility, approachability.
Someone... Sorry.
No, I want to know what you were going to say.
Someone said Blaseball VR, and it's like, come on, like we didn't already make that. That was like the first thing we made.
Like
We just haven't shown you.
Blaseball VR real.
Yeah, the very first thing we did is make Blaseball VR. Just you
Like,
haven't
that's-
seen it, doesn't mean anything, but don't worry, we made it. I am
I didn't say
excited for
the
everything
other.
that you've all said. Steven, you just made me think that I could do an entire like talk on the complexity of simple systems when introduced one by one in the stacking formation versus thinking that each system is like from a production standpoint, even like that scope creep is not what people think it is, where you expand things to be complex. It's actually just adding simple things in a stacking formation sufficient that they are no longer simple. And I think that's something that most people starting out in this industry, especially games, like don't think about, but it is the much more insidious scope creep version that most people fall into versus that we purposefully experimented with. To be clear,
That we
that
jumped
was like
into.
a purposeful thing that we did. This was not necessarily a trap. It was a real experiment. But that from a production standpoint, that would be a really cool talk. So
Yeah, you gotta pair up with Joel and give the chaos talk too.
Yeah.
The amount of various conference talks that we could give, the amount of talks that I alone would like to pull from Blaseball and present to people.
I mean, I still want Quinn to give an entire talk on the swear filter on the Discord.
Yeah,
it's
the
unreal.
Swoomba is bonkers.
Yeah, they could do like a very cool talk on it. So
yeah. Mel, you had one other thing that you wanted to say, right?
Yeah, sorry, Mel.
Oh, I was just gonna say like cleaner code.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's mine too.
Listen.
Hey, we're like, you know,
We're trying. We're working on it.
Trying.
It's fine.
Don't you even worry about it.
it's gonna
It's
be
fine,
so nice
too.
when we actually. That's all.
That's all clean code to
That
me.
was my answer. Well, also like, modular. Is that the word? Is that the buzzword I should use?
That's the buzzword.
Modular code.
Yeah.
Too.
I stopped looking at the
Visible?
code in a certain. There was a certain moment where Joel was moving.
Yeah.
Where I stopped looking at the code because I felt myself just like break into a sweat.
Do you remember what season that was? It was
It was
expansion
early.
era.
Oh
Huh?
wait,
No, it was,
Or was that
earlier
Discipline?
than expansion.
yeah,
Was
There
that?
were
Oh my
two
god, was that
times
during?
Joel was moving? There were 2 times.
Yeah.
yeah. Joel's moved
Yes.
twice.
Both.
Yeah,
during-
moving to
I
Kansas
stopped
or moving
looking
to
the
house.
first time.
Okay, yeah, that was during Discipline. That was boss fight times.
Yes.
We were building
So
the boss
I stopped
fight when he
looking then.
moved.
Then there was another time Joel moved
Yeah, he
and I
moved
stopped looking
again.
Don't worry about it. I definitely did a sneak peek in between, or 20. But no, I just don't look at it anymore because I,
shouldn't.
as a human that has literacy in programming but does not wish to be the person in programming, but also has OCD and ADHD, there is
It will
no
break
way to
your
stop
brain.
myself.
I'm so
There's
sorry.
no way to stop myself from writing new code. And that's how Sibber was born, and I love it more than anything. However, I also have a studio to run, so I can't. Man, I would so
don't.
be in Sibber if I could. Don't worry. I'd be it.
Excellent.
It's
Excellent.
okay. Now all we do is argue about.
Yeah, now it's
what-
time for the
what
food
was-
arguments. No, I don't think. Oh, I did include one food question, but we're not there yet. This one is okay. So this one comes to us from Dead Sec Pony, regular Ed TM. Great. What would happen if Kirby inhaled all of Blaseball instead of Black Hole? And I think somebody answered this question in Community Billboard by drawing Mouthful Mode Kirby on the Blaseball diamond, and I did pin it because it was extremely funny, and I love
Fantastic.
Mouthful Mode.
You there and looking.
It would be a much nicer existence if Kirby was swallowed Blaseball. Because I feel like
the
it's not a
idea
bad.
is what would happen to Kirby, right?
Yeah, like what would happen when Kirby spits Blaseball?
I think
out?
there are two
That's
questions.
what happens if Kirby swallows Blaseball with
Yeah.
power up. You know?
Question
Yeah, that's what I
one
mean,
is
like-
what happens to Kirby. Question 2 is what happens to the things that Kirby consumes for power.
They're obliterated entirely.
No, I think there's a separate universe inside Kirby.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
So
Kirby's
the
a
short
god,
circuits.
so Kirby's an eldritch being. So I just
Kirby
Oh, like-
One
becomes
sec,
like-
God.
sec.
like-
Is the immaterial plane already inside Kirby?
Sorry,
I
like
think
gluttony,
our reality
like
might be
gluttony
inside
from
Yeah, like gluttony.
from
Yeah.
Full Metal.
Yeah.
Because like
Yeah.
there's a whole other. This is a different Kirby than I've ever experienced.
Kirby
like,
is full of
Kirby-
blood and ruins from ancient
No,
civilizations.
no. Kirby
He's
is
consuming the
canonically-
power.
There's no blood.
Kirby canonically is the most powerful character in the Nintendo
I strongly
roster.
agree with you. I
Kirby-
strongly agree with you.
Like,
Flooding
just-
immediately goes away because Kirby, as we all know, is dry inside. Like
Very
this
dry.
is true.
like
This is
fiberglass
accurate,
insulation.
Yeah, like fiberglass
Yes.
insulation. Yeah.
We were making Kirby sound so terrible, but Kirby is friend shaped and is a good.
No.
Kirby can be
What a
beautiful and
sweet little-
complicated,
I
Alana.
agree with
Bubblegum.
you.
This is the duality of Kirby.
Yes, I
You
agree
should
with
never
I think
fear
that as long
Kirby.
as Kirby is not sliced through, Kirby is the most friend. But if you slice through Kirby, just like insulation, you'd get glass
No,
shards all over
No,
you.
It's
because
like
Kirby's like
nuclear fission.
SpongeBob. You touch Kirby and it just like it bounces back. You know, you can't hurt
maybe.
Kirby.
So you think of Kirby like a gummy
It's like a
bear
bubble gum
texture.
bubble.
Maybe
But you can't pop
Kirby
it.
Isn't that
is like
not
the
brutal?
Hellmouth, right?
Let's just say if Indiana Jones hid inside Kirby,
The
it would
hell-
have made more
no.
sense that he survived.
Quinn, I'm sorry, Mel
That's
just
true.
uncovered
Yes.
the deep lore.
I haven't even seen that movie in yet.
Yeah, you're right. Kirby greater than refrigerator.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think Mel is onto something that the Hellmouth is actually just Kirby making a really long yawn.
Yeah, no, Mel, I'm into it.
Kirby's like real sleepy and it's like, oh, and that's the Hellmouth.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
pretty
just
good.
choose to believe we are all living inside Kirby at the moment, and those Kirby games are just us, like, it's a manifestation of Kirby
Mm.
Yeah.
in the real world, in our world.
We are all made of Kirby stuff.
I have a
Yeah.
question.
That's what Arthur C. Clarke said.
Yeah, Steven, what's your question?
Is Kirby canonically a Pokemon?
No, it has nothing to do with Pokemon in any way.
Are we sure?
Yes.
Other than the
Yes.
fact that it's a Nintendo property.
Yes.
So if Kirby were, we would know because it would be outrageous. Like
Kirby-
it would be like Ditto's already weird enough.
That could mean there's multiple.
Kirby would
Yeah.
be.
Yeah, that
Kirby
means
is
there's
Ditto's
multiple
buff
Kirbys.
cousin.
You could
There's only one
catch-
Kirby.
Wait,
Actually,
maybe
no, that-
Kirby's legendary,
Kirby
which makes
could be a
sense because
legendary Pokemon.
Kirby is genderless, I believe,
Okay, so
and all the legendaries
Yes.
are genderless, so that
Same.
follows.
no, but
Yes.
I knew he wasn't. Kirby wasn't a Pokemon, but is Jigglypuff the
Yes.
same powers as
No.
Kirby?
No,
No.
Jigglypuff
Not at
sings
all.
real
In no
good.
way.
Not even.
The,
close. Dude,
the
can
closest-
Kirby sing good?
Yeah, Jigglypuff sings. That's what
You need to
Jigglypuff
go.
does.
Wait, that's
No, but can Kirby sing?
I don't
I
know
love
if Kirby
you
can
all,
sing.
but I need to
Jigglypuff
go.
specifically is
We have
known
more
for
questions,
singing.
Felix.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
can't
are
leave-
trapped inside the
No.
Blaseball. The
Felix,
ritual
you
is
can't
not
leave the
complete.
Blaseball until we answer the question.
I'm not leaving the list. I'm just going to a different part of the place. Well, good luck.
Okay. Wait, I think you should
Next
answer
question.
this one and then you can go. Oh, you're leaving and coming back?
Well, no, I'm just going to be over there.
Oh.
I need to be briefly because I promised to do a thing.
Are you
Sure.
gonna go play Elden Ring?
Yes, I promised. Okay, I'll be.
That's fine. Leave us.
I'll be right back. I'll be right back.
I got like 40 hours into Elden Ring before I realized you could run. Did I tell you that? I thought I was running.
I was streaming Elden Ring to a friend the other day who had similarly played at least 10, 20 hours and was very surprised to see me sprint.
The game really opens up when you do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like a core mechanic.
I do that
That's
in
like
so many
the other
games.
FromSoft games.
I don't know why I didn't think of it. I was just like, oh, I'm jogging.
Yeah.
That must be it.
The sprint
I have a-
attacks
I have a
are-
heavy-
It must be fine that
good.
they're always catching me when I run away.
Yes.
To be fair, that was also a thing we put in Tunic with no explanation beyond the. It's why the guide exists, right? To like
Right, exactly.
bridge the gap between someone who's played a Soulsborne and someone who hasn't.
Hasn't.
And also because those are deeply charming, hopefully, and carry lots of more secrets than you know. Whip, whip, whip.
Secrets.
Go do your Elden Ring.
Secrets.
Next
Okay.
question.
This one actually comes to us from the Game Band employee, Ump Possum, who you all know on the Discord. And if you don't know, you will probably see Ump Possum around. Possum asks, and I'll give some context after this for why this question is being asked. and imagine this question is in all caps as well. You have to make a 150 slide long presentation that can only be 15 minutes long. The presentation can be about anything. What do you give a presentation on? This question is being asked because Dear Gabe, Sweet Sweet Gooby, here at the Game Band at GDC, gave a 15-minute presentation of 150 slides about Blaseball.
Perfect.
So.
Blaseball's such a good answer. It's not fair.
Yeah.
The problem again is I've already made a lot of slideshows.
I think you should
Can't
read
double
your
up.
presentations
Felix
for the
looks
class.
ready.
I'll read my presentations at the end.
Okay.
First of all, okay, two things. One, Elena gives really good slide presentations on things in general. Two, I would like to say to anyone that attended that talk, we're probably not in this stream, but still, I am so sorry. Gooby specifically made those slides either without my approval or without me, period. And I didn't learn that it was 150 slides in 15 minutes until an hour before the presentation. And so while I deeply support Gooby in the crimes and the overall like criminal kind of like ethos that was approached,
awesome,
that was used to approach it, I apologize to the organizer of the postmortem and anyone that sees it in the future, because it will be uploaded to I'm sure to YouTube at some point. Okay.
I saw one slide from the presentation, and it was completely blank, and it said Blaseball is about, or Blaseball in Blaseball and then it just said kiss, and it was an acrostic poem that said keep introducing simple systems. It's good.
Very good.
Thank you for the cat, Felix.
I would probably do mine on roguelikes.
Yeah.
I could come up with 150 slides on roguelikes in like about 15 minutes.
Yeah.
I would do Stenotype, which is a corded typing system, and I could easily get 150 slides because there are thousands and thousands of chords, and I could just pull up 150 different chords you can type in Stenotype, and then explain each of them rapid fire and why typing these keys gets you that letter and that word, I should say. If you don't know what Stenotype is, it's too much for me to explain right now because we don't have that time with it. Google it.
Nerd. Mine. So I mentioned Keeper Skate's birthday earlier. Skates has, as tribute for their birthday, demanded that the keepers make 3-minute long, and the umps who are invited make 3-minute long presentations for Skates' entertainment, like a royalty being fed grapes, but those grapes are our opinions into charming PowerPoints. So I've been thinking a lot about this. And spoilers for my presentation for Skates, but I'm going to make a presentation on why Mr. Darcy should be a werewolf, and why Pride and Prejudice is much more interesting if Mr. Darcy as a character is actually a brooding and damaged werewolf man. And I won't take up everybody's...
You're entitled to this opinion.
Thank you.
This is something we've talked about, and you're just
I know.
right.
I know that
right.
it's silly, but I feel
wouldn't
very
say it would
passionately.
make it better,
now I want to listen to you talk.
But I do want to see
okay.
this.
Minutes.
You know?
I'll
Wait
give you...
until you see the presentation,
I want
and
this
then
to
you
be
can
this.
decide.
Yeah, I'll give you a very, very brief rundown, and then I'll make a full elaborate PowerPoint for everybody. But this man, he, especially in scenes where it's late at night at parties, is very disgruntled and agitated. He is unfamiliar with touch the way that all good fictional werewolves are, because they are initially...
spoil for Pride and Prejudice or for the...
No, spoiler for the 3-minute presentation.
Oh, okay.
I just love a werewolf that is both touch-starved and has anxieties about being a monster, and then is shown through getting to know someone and being yourself, that actually you can be loved for both your flaws and your complications. And I really think that adding that layer of oh, Elizabeth has stumbled upon Mr. Darcy attending to his sister at Pemberley. Oh no, he's so embarrassed to see her there, and she runs out of the room. His initial interpretation is that she's afraid of seeing him as a werewolf, but actually she was embarrassed to be there, and then they have to overcome their communication Listen.
You're just saying the plot
Yeah,
of
you're doing the
I know, but the
presentation right now.
werewolf...
I'm like, how many minutes in do
But,
I
like,
let
werewolf-
you know that you've even
werewolf
gone
sexy.
over
Hey,
time?
hey. Mel and Elena, all I can say is that you should just make your own presentation if you disagree.
Yeah,
I'm not
listen.
saying I disagree. I'm
No,
just
I
saying
love
you
it.
are
Do a
just
presentation
describing
on
the
why
plot of
Mr.
Pride and
Darcy
Prejudice.
shouldn't
I
be
think
a
we
werewolf.
should have a 15-minute presentation on this. I don't know if 3 minutes is enough to fully convey.
That's what I think. All right, that's mine. Steven, what would you give a
Oh.
presentation?
I don't know. Probably some like obscure movie that nobody cares about.
Great.
Blaseball is such an easy answer. I actually I was in a meeting with another studio, and someone asked me one question about Blaseball that I tried to explain as like efficiently and simply as possible. And then 45 minutes later, I was still explaining like just ramifications of the thing that I had said. So that's always a good answer, like Blaseball cosmology. I don't know, like poker or something like that. I could give a 15-minute presentation on pretty easy.
I'll give a presentation on Robert Pattinson.
I could give a great presentation on Robert Pattinson.
We would like to see it.
After our regeneration.
I think my next endeavor would be a presentation. This is gonna sound so... It's a long title. But comparing and contrasting Batman and Wolverine's relationships to trauma and fatherhood. So that's the shit that I talk about.
Ooh.
Do that.
Are you gonna do that?
Yeah, I would
talk
like to
at
see
the
that
party,
as well.
right?
I make PowerPoints because my friends and I do PowerPoint parties on the reg. Not
think-
like that regularly.
Can
but
you list some of them?
Yeah, can you
I'll
list
list
some
a
of them?
few. The on brand one was rating X-Men objectively. But I also have, I'll just say the three that are my favorites. Rating Women in Supernatural by how horrible the writing is.
Mm-hmm.
Sky High 2005 is better than the entire MCU and X-Men saga.
Mm-hmm.
And High School Musical 2 is a critique on class, race, sexuality, and capitalism.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I also bought research material for our presentation that I haven't even given because I never finished it. Once. It was about vampires.
That's powerful.
Here's my pitch, is that the next Inside a Blaseball that we do is just, we're not answering questions, we're just giving presentations on nonsense for people.
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah, I think that would be fun. We can share our screens. Everybody could give me their slide deck. We'll work out the logistics. That'll be fun for everybody. Okay, great. Oh, Felix is back. Is it to call me?
Is there audio?
What do you
for
mean?
that?
Yeah.
Like, am I able to stream? I guess I can send you the
Yeah.
slide deck, and it has a video in it, so it'll be fine.
Yeah, we can.
I can
do a
either do
drive-in.
the my cat is a husky, or I can do the incredibly boring to everyone but me Lego 150 Lego pieces I love in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Or
I would be here for that.
50.
That's not boring at all. That's
50
awesome.
in 5 minutes. I can do it. I can do like one a second ish, so we can work that out, whatever it ends up being. But yeah.
Just give a presentation on why people should watch Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, and it's 150
I can do
slides
that.
of pictures of Olivier Armstrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At some point
Yeah.
after I dig through my
Uh-huh.
father's.
Rhea, remind me to show you this
Yep.
art print I have of Lily Armstrong because it's one of my favorite pieces
Please.
of art I own.
Please.
So good.
Elena,
Oh, yeah.
Booby should see that too. Gabe should see that. Gabe loves.
I'll post a pic. It's over there. I have to
Mean-
go get it off the wall.
Mean Lady
One of the
Pretty.
things that I could do and I will do in the future is that, like, I just got my father's giant D&D collection that is like
Ooh.
literally massive, and I can post the screenshot of, not the screenshot, the spreadsheet of all the things he owns in first and second edition. And I want to go through it all and just pick out the weirdest monsters possible, but that'll
Yeah.
be for like a future.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Excellent.
Thank you, everybody.
All right. We'll jot that down. This one comes to us from, I know that I asked how to pronounce this last time. I'm so sorry if I don't get up this time. Linasai, regular in the Discord. Hello. What's up? Favorite kind of bread?
Sourdough, easy.
Ooh,
Milk and honey.
Love a good sourdough.
Love milk and honey.
Pretzels are
Big
close.
fan.
I shouldn't technically eat gluten, but sourdough or pumpernickel faux show.
Sourdough's second favorite.
I shouldn't eat taro bread, but I love it.
I'm gonna say like an olive loaf.
Ooh.
I was just gonna say that there was this like boutique grocery store near where I grew up that made their own olive bread in house, and it was like these beautiful big Italian loaves with olives baked into them.
Wow.
That toasted with butter is like, oh,
Wow.
Yeah,
it's
that's
so
good
good.
too.
Bread's
I love
so
bread,
good.
so I have a lot of bread
Yeah.
opinions.
Yeah.
Bread's incredible.
I
go to the bakery that's like a block and a half from me almost every day.
That is awesome. So my my stepdad my stepdad's family is German master brief bakers. So they like got their master brief in Germany, and then they came over to Canada, and then they set up a bakery, and so they're like true what you would consider master like craftsmen in Germany here. And that means I grew up in a bakery, which means I was like exposed to a bunch of different breads as a kid that wouldn't normally not. I don't think there's words for them because I think I used the wrong words for them. Like there's a 5 grain that's called like good hot bread, and then there was like 100% spelt bread and all this stuff. And I have no idea. I've never found them in grocery stores, so I have no idea how to refer to them in English. But I just know the German names for them. But regardless, still, no matter what, even though all those breads are better for me and better, like in general, good for me, I still love taro bread because sweet loaves are just, God, they're good.
Yeah.
God, it's good.
Yeah. I don't think this technically counts as bread, but it's what I will sometimes eat instead of bread because I am not good with gluten. I love an injera, like.
Oh, you're so
bread and bread-like products.
Yeah, bread adjacent.
Yeah. Bread adjacent.
Injera rips.
I mean, do tortillas count as bread? Because then that's my real answer.
Yeah, why not?
But I don't count those as bread. Like,
yeah,
I don't eat the sandwich with.
I eat things on tortillas instead of bread to not give myself an upset tummy. So it's like bread adjacent for me.
I just eat tortillas raw. Not raw, but you know what I mean.
That's so beautiful for you.
Oh,
I love
that.
We
make them, so we make them in my house. So.
Ah, yes.
Wow.
Or like I don't make them because I'm lazy.
I want to have a potluck with the game band.
Or I get my grandmother will make them and then freeze them, and then whenever we visit, we'll just take a bunch on the airplane.
Bring Abuelita to the game band hangout. Just bring up.
Last minute question: what would you bring to the game band potluck? Yeah, I'd bring pigs in a blanket.
Oh,
what would I bring?
Or kolaches.
Oh fuck! I miss kolaches so bad. They don't sell them here. There's not a single place that I can find that sells them.
All right. Okay.
I was a professional pie maker for like 18 months. I would bring a deep dish apple pie.
Quinn's apple pie recipe kicks so much ass. Like all of the ass.
I would bring hard shell tacos.
Also great. I would bring
my mom's recipe.
Caribbean curry. My God. Because it's different from Indian curry, where the West Indian curries are different. Mm-hmm. And so I would definitely bring that. And it keeps forever because I could just it's just like, it's, old school, put spice on there and it'll stay.
The best food is the stuff you can freeze forever.
Yeah.
Ever. And
yeah.
Wow.
There's so much clove in it. The difference between like Indian curry, East Indian curry, and West Indian curry is like one of them spicy here and one of them spicy here.
Mm-hmm. That's the good one.
So even if you're sensitive to spice on your tongue, you can eat it and you still feel spicy. Like it's still delicious.
Steven, what would you bring?
I couldn't think of anything. So a friend of mine used to always bring just an angel food cake that he bought from the store.
That's great.
Listen, every person
worse.
The experience of being at a party and then you go up to the snack table and you go, is that an angel food cake? And then you're like, yeah, I'll try it. And
I'll have a slice of angel food cake.
Guaranteed.
Yeah. Especially if you get like a vanilla ice cream thing and like some straws.
Yeah.
So that was my
really make the angel food cake.
That was my
first experience with plain angel food cake.
It's you get Cool Whip and angel food cake. That's like
complicated.
strawberry
No joke.
shortcake.
I had never
Also.
had an angel food cake until like 6 weeks ago or whatever, when Gabe went downstairs and like to the grocery store below us, bought one, brought it back up with, you have to try this. And I was like, oh, it's a ton of cakes that I've had at parties where there's
It's the
just, like,
party
ice cream,
cake.
and I was like, I didn't realize that this is what that
Yeah.
was. And it's perfect.
It's perfect.
So good.
I think, and I think to introduce everybody to my Ohio roots, I would make buffalo chicken dip for sure.
I thought you were gonna. I straight up was like, "Are you gonna say corn?"
No, I could have said like skyline dip, but I wouldn't do that to people who didn't opt in. I'd probably make a dope like either buffalo chicken, or if vegetarians were in the crew, we'd do like buffalo chickpea dip. I would also make milk punch for show. I am peer pressuring a bunch of people to hang out with me, and I'm going to be making a milk punch so that everybody can consume it. Should I explain what a milk punch is?
No, don't explain milk punch.
Let it be a mystery.
Okay.
Scared, but intrigued.
Send us a mod
Explain
mail
it
if you
to
want to
me.
know what milk punch is.
Yeah,
I'll explain it to you there.
like 50 messages. What the hell? What is? Milk
What is a milk punch, Bria? Answer for your crimes. Making dirt is always great for a potluck.
Dirt
too.
is yummy.
People love a dirt.
Not actual dirt. The food dirt.
Like
Yeah,
dirt.
the pudding covered in Oreos with little gummy worms.
Gummy worms.
Yeah, dirt
Yeah,
always
yeah.
is classic.
That is so
you know,
good.
you don't have to be a child to eat dirt.
That's true. That's true. In college,
We've so far gotten 3 mod mails.
I'm just gonna never mind. I'm gonna explain a milk punch real fast. Stop sending mod mails. The keepers are gonna bully me. A milk punch is an alcoholic beverage. It doesn't have to be alcoholic, but traditionally it is. From way back when alcohol like sucked ass to consume, people would mix it with a bunch of citrus and tea usually, and like spices, and then would clarify it by you heat up and curdle milk with all of the citrus and then filter it through the curds. And what that does is it pulls out a lot of the like tannins and bitterness and makes like a very cohesive, like cool mouthfeel for the punch. It strips away a lot of the bad flavor, and now in this instance, just the more bitter flavors when, alcohol's a bit better these days. But you get that creaminess because you're pulling out the curds, but you're left with just like the milk protein.
This is why I didn't want you to explain milk punch.
I know it's extremely complicated and it sounds really gross, but it's a really cool experience if someone does it right. If you are of drinking age, and if you're not, you can make it non-alcoholic, or you can go like Bria, that's gross and you're gross, and that's fine too. I respect that. Great. Okay. Sorry, keepers, for telling people to mod mail to ask about milk punch. That one's on me. I'll answer those after this. Great. Nerdy 314 wants to know what our third favorite horse is.
Orin.
Black Beauty.
My favorite horse is named Patu, which is 8 O's, so it's potatoes.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
That's
I know that
very
horse.
Good.
That's a
I
good
know, it's
horse.
a good horse. Yeah.
I still don't know my top 3. I don't know. I know my
I had
number
all day
1.
to think about this.
I did, and
Yeah.
I didn't care enough to think about it that much. No offense. I just don't have I don't have very many horse opinions.
I feel like my third favorite horse is, I don't know, BoJack Horseman. I really like the show, but he like sucks as a person, but like the character is very compelling, and I watch it when I want to feel sad. So that's like, it's not number 1, but it's like number 3,
I don't remember his name. Roach? Roach is my third favorite horse. That's
Roach is a great horse.
I almost call him Gerald. Gerald's horse.
Oh.
The Witcher.
Yeah, Gerald of
Gerald the Witcher.
Riverdale. Gerald of Riverdale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Witcher.
Spirit Stallion of the Cimarron's my number 1 horse.
Torrent's my number 1 horse. I don't even think
Torrent's
Torrent's a horse.
Torrent's a great horse.
Who's Torrin?
That's the horse from Elden Ring.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. Great.
They're
Caught
My
up.
best
Thank
friend,
you.
Torrent.
From Lord of the Rings is my favorite horse because the actor had to bring the horse home because they bonded, and I think that's very special.
It's Horse
agree.
Girl.
Eric
Viggo
Horn is a
Mortensen is a horse
girl.
girl.
Horse Girl. It's true. I stand by it. Horse Girl is a lifestyle, not a gender, you know?
Yeah,
So
it's an
true.
energy, honestly.
Yeah. There are other questions that I could ask, but I did say that we were wrapping up early, and I feel like I would not hold true to my promise if I asked all of them, so we'll save them for next time. So we're going to end on this note. Felix, if you want to answer the last question, come on back. This one comes to us from Anonymous. Ooh. If you weren't in game dev, what job would you want to have?
Oh, want to have.
Or what do you think you would have? You can answer it either
What job
way.
would you... I thought the question was, what job would you have?
It says, what job do you think you would have? But I'm curious in whatever answer best suits the audio.
The job I
so
think
follow
I would
your
have
heart.
is I think I'd be in grad school.
Great.
I was a web dev in health insurance, so I would have, if I hadn't come here, I would still be a web dev in health insurance or working on Easel full time. Which I guess people have told me Easel is a game, so maybe that's still a game dev. I don't know.
I would have worked
mean,
for a big company, a
Mhm.
bigger company, and I would have done some sort of development with my degree.
Yeah, I just finished like kind of a long and tragic pinballing between a bunch of different jobs, and then like landed here like 3 months ago, and I'm really enjoying myself. I don't know. Like I tried to have like an art career that didn't go great, but like I would probably keep doing that. I made this background at the time. It's pretty neat.
It's cool.
It's cool. Yeah. I don't know. Something like that.
Yeah, my backup was to get an MFA, so
Yeah.
Classic.
just get an MFA with creative writing. Just go full in on that.
Yeah.
I don't know
yeah.
what I would have done.
What does
That's
anybody
like a
do
terrible
with an
backup.
MFA?
You should not have grad school.
Yeah,
as your
you don't
backup.
need it. Don't do it. Don't make.
Especially
that
when you
mistake.
graduate
Don't
with
make the same mistake I made.
with a science degree. You shouldn't then go get a fine arts master's.
Well, I also like write movies, so I would probably do that. But I also was thinking that I was at the Oakland airport the other day, and I walked past this Pete's Coffee with these windows that just kind of like overlook the bay. And for like a moment, I just kind of stopped and was like, "Wow, I could just see that every morning."
Yeah.
So maybe that.
That's beautiful.
Work at Pete's Coffee. The airport.
Listen, coffee is an art just as much as writing.
Honestly, I mean, yeah.
I mean, have you seen?
Honestly,
some of the
you
coffee
should've
art?
seen way more skills than I do.
You should have seen
So-
the beta. I stopped my partner and made her look up, and I was like, "Look at this. This could be us."
I'm not joking. If not for COVID, I probably would be working at an airline right now. So not in an airport, but like for an airline.
For an airline.
Like technically, like as a computer science guy. So I guess I have COVID to thank for not getting that job.
Thanks, COVID.
Thanks, COVID.
Don't clip that
Reflection.
audio.
So I've been in games for, well, okay, I've been in or sure I would be in games for 13 years, right? Because I was like working my way to become part of the games industry before indie was a thing and blah blah blah. So I didn't allow myself like to think about anything else for a while. But in for when I was putting myself through programming, I worked at an independent like toy shop for kids, like kids toys, regular, but not like Toys R Us, like a small one, right? And while I was working there, I got scouted for the CBC, which is the Canadian Broadcasting. The point is, I got scouted for the radio while I was working there, which is funny because I dropped out of my radio degree previous to that, and they were like, "Hey, you would do really well in radio if you ever thought about it." And I was like, "Yes, I definitely did radio in 2006 or 2003 through 2006 when podcasts became a thing, and my radio degree was very swiftly every year becoming less and less relevant. But if I'm being honest, if I wasn't in games, I think I would be in radio. I think I would love it, and I would make no money in it and barely get by, but I think it would be a passion, and I would be convinced, I'd be bought in on the idea that like even shortwave radio, like any sort of radio was like a way to get information to people that currently aren't getting it, and I would be obsessed with the idea that disinformation, misinformation, whatever the fuck you want to call it in 2022 is rampant, and that this is a good way of like spreading important information, which to me probably ends in like Lego metaphors and video game metaphors rather than like actual, politics. So I think I'd still be in radio, honestly.
Nice.
It's what I did first, and it's what I do again.
Such a fun answer.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
I've done a lot of things before I ended up here.
But it's ridiculous.
I mean, before I worked here, I worked at a screen printing shop, and I was a tour guide for a distillery, and I
that's
used to run social media for a couch company that we don't speak about, and we've done a lot of things. I don't know what I would actually be doing, but I have always like impractically dreamed of running a like very like cool casual cocktail bar where you can get like nice charcuterie boards or like little snacks that have like suggested cocktail or wine pairings. We've got like some good non-alcoholic options to be like approachable for folks. We've got a very cute patio. We have live music. I think that will be very cool, and I feel like I would be a very charming bartender. I also really, well, I know I'm a charming bartender. I've bartended.
Yeah.
But I also really enjoyed being a tour guide, and the idea of being like a haunted house tour guide person, or like giving stupid puns about ghosts while I talk about the history of an area and make like tongue-in-cheek comments about like our imperialist and colonialist history as a country to a bunch of people that paid like $30 and are going to tip me because they remind me of their granddaughter is like, would love that.
Two things to say right now. One, have strong connections in St. Augustine, Florida, where my grandmother's mansion, like she owned like a bed and breakfast, which is called a mansion. You know when people say mansion, they just mean like old house.
Yeah.
So my grandmother's old mansion is what it's called in St. Augustine. She recently moved out of it, but is on the haunted tour list because I swear to God that place is genuinely haunted because I could tell you personal stories about it. She was an antique collector and had antique dolls lining all the walls.
I want to hear ghost stories later.
You love it. I promise.
What is it with
it's
grandmas and haunted dolls?
We don't talk about it every time. That's what I'll do my presentation on. Okay,
yes.
Hold on. Number two, the idea that you might like start a bar. I think most of the game band would be really charming bartenders.
Yeah.
But in addition to that, like also great at the kitchen.
Yeah.
Great at busing.
Should we just pivot to opening a bar?
Yeah, if Blaseball doesn't work out, I think we should open
a bar.
Yeah.
It's
like
just
with
a
like
pivot.
the Blaseball feed.
It's a sports bar, you know?
The ticker is going.
There you go.
Sports bar.
I've done bartending and I am
Dark
a pastry
sports
chef.
bar.
Think about all the themed cocktail pun names.
The other thing that we could do, my ex had like
Sports
two good
bar.
ideas in his entire life. Apologies if my ex is listening. One of them was to open a Tex-Mex bar / like drink / food bar in Ireland, because you just pick a place where they've never had Tex-Mex, but Tex-Mex is like basically
food
accessible
ever.
to anyone. It's like
Yeah.
the most delicious, like accessible food.
Even bad
Yeah.
Tex-Mex is great.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
Well, it's
Trust me,
also
I've had
it's
a lot of
really
bad
easy to
Tex-Mex,
make
and
like
it's really
vegan
good.
Tex-Mex
Yeah.
or like just
Yeah,
a
we got
wide
it.
range. of
just take
accessible
a place that
Tex-Mex.
is like both like Ireland's a great example because it's somewhere that has like a deep sort of pub history, so they're used to like going in, ordering a drink, and getting like a piece of food that's very easy to eat, but craving mocktails, craving vegan, craving like stuff that isn't offered to them. Let's do it. I'm happy.
Everybody
Let's all
stay
move to
tuned.
Ireland and open a bar.
Era 3 of Blaseball, the bar era.
Era 3, you have to come to Ireland physically.
We have to get to Ireland.
I'm a UK citizen. Technically, we can do this.
Yeah, we got it. We got it.
Ireland's not part of the UK. It's fine. Don't worry about it. It's my only lament. It sucks. I wish.
But cocktail bar. Let's go, gamers. Excellent. On that note,
It's a short one.
yeah, this is our short Inside on Blaseball.
Yeah,
It was
this
my
is the 1 hour one.
It was my mistake for. We all talk so much, and I love it so much. I'll just sleep in tomorrow. It'll be
We have
great.
8 minutes left until it's 2 hours. Do you want to talk
That's
about Supernatural for 8 minutes?
Yeah.
I want to hear about the werewolves.
I'm going to bed. Goodbye,
No,
everybody.
I have to do my goodbye.
Do it.
Wait till we round up, Felix. Come on, there's procedure. I'm gonna turn into the Joker.
Thank you, everybody.
I'm gonna go sicko mode. Thanks for coming, everyone. Just as a reminder, we are closing the Discord on the 4th of April through the 4th of May so that we can sort of revamp and restructure it, make it all shiny and hopefully pretty and great for everyone. And also sleep a lot because posting just keeps happening. And we're not going to do an Inside of Blaseball for April. I'm super into the idea of us doing silly presentations for the next Inside of Blaseball, so I may peer pressure the team into doing that. But until then, thanks for coming. Have a great weekend. When we get there. Bye.
Yeah, it's
Bye,
Wednesday.
everybody.
Have a great weekend.